With Inforunners on Execute, joined today by Algared. We are both, and we're going to stream. We're going to literally go to bed after this, get up and stream tomorrow. But we want to get this out for you guys. Trying to get Algared home, but click it over to the browser. What are we going through today, Algared? United Resource Workers. Is that like Are they related to the UWU girls at all? I'm just curious.
Well, my question was, are they related to the United Workers Union? And
yeah, the UWU girls.
So UWU, yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see. All right, so we got a little bit to go through here. Not a lot, but we're going to go through it anyway. To me, Algared, this whole sale seems to be tailored at the other side of the obvious part that's been missing for Invictus. We have the military ships. We have the alien ships that come after that, and the Drake ships in there as well. We don't have any of the industry. I think you would agree with me that that is probably what this is tailored at.
Yeah, because like even when you got Invictus launch week, and then you have DefenseCon. DefenseCon by Drake is their military ships, and it doesn't really leave room for the Vulture. It certainly doesn't leave room for their mining ship if you're looking defense. And so having a Workers Week now means you can put in all the industry ships from all the companies and do a second sale throughout the year where they're all available. So, yeah.
I do think it's interesting where they've put it too, though, because it's further enough from Invictus to be a bit different. So I'm kind of curious if they add anything else. But like, it's an interesting place to place it because we've essentially got sale almost every day of every month so far. You know, the ones that you forgot last year, you know, previous year stuff, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day now. So it's kind of interesting. Scary precedent because I don't want there to be a sale every month, but that looks like we're moving towards. We'll see how it goes. So as you can see in this image, they've essentially added 4 skins for Workers Week. You can get one for the Atlas. I do believe, Algared, we will be doing a buyer's guide on the Geo, but from what I can tell, all the Atlas skins do also work on the Geo, which is to be expected. So this will work on either.
Which is one of those nice things, isn't it? Being able to have it's one of those things we've often said. It'd be nice to have skins work on all the.
Again, you can just pick your favorite, and it works on either one you prefer.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. All right, so the Golem one here. Obviously, there's a bunch of other Golem skins out too. I do not think these are the best skins. And I wonder if these are just going to repeat like other sales we've had, or are you going to see different worker skin every year? And what I mean by that, not just a white and blue. They're obviously aiming at blue collar workers or whatever. But like, are they going to have different styles every year, or are they really just going to be this white and blue thing going forward? So I kind of wonder how that's going to eventuate. But they have hit probably some of the best working ships. Obviously, you've got the Prospect as well. This is really similar to the Cyan one that they had during Christmas time. So that was essentially white and cyan instead of white and blue. And there's also the Foundation Festival one, which is also silver and cyan. So the really weird thing is the best skin is actually the one that came from the event for Supply or Die, because all the skins that we essentially have for the Prospector right now are not very good. They really need some better skins on these industry ships. And the fact that they went with white and blue is just a little bit upsetting because there's already a lot of white and blue.
But when you look at the United Resource Workers color scheme, that's blue and white, and so I do think that lends to the fact that as they bring out other unions, the United Workers Union or whatever the groups are called.
Would you not agree it's really a tip of the hat to blue collar workers? Because that's what I take out of it. It's almost like
I definitely.
Except white collar, you've kind of got like white collar and blue collar, and it kind of does both. I know, but it just reminds me of blue collar work.
Yeah, look, I think the fact that they're doing Workers Week, the fact that this is the United Resource Workers Union, the fact that they've got blue and white, I think it is a tip of the hat. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see other unions coming out with their own colour schemes. So a miners' union may have slightly different colours that you could put on the ships. So it goes with the rep.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of skins for them all, so it is good to see one for that. And again, orange being the default color, essentially going to blue and white. I think this is very different from the others. So that's the 4 skins that kind of come. So that's the simple stuff, so we can kind of move that past now. As I said, we're going to do buyer's guides for the Argo and Drake Golem over the weekend. We'll come back to those. That'll actually give me and Algared time to go through and actually test them, because we're already finding that there are some differences, especially in the Golem. And again, we'll go over that, and you'll get a double video on Monday.
Yeah.
So we'll try and do one then. And I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. What do you want to see first, the Golem or the Geo?
Yeah, and whichever one you want first is the one we'll release first. Because hopefully by that point we'll have them both.
We can just lie about the votes and do whichever one we want. That's fine. Yeah,
that's right.
Make it
we just do whatever we want. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Right. All right. The Atlas. What do you want to say about that, Aaron? I'll let you take that one.
Well, Atlas, it's still $40. It's okay. It's a great thing for loading ships. That's about it.
Yep. I think will say this as we go over to the Geo, though. You can upgrade those now for $5, which I think. I'm going to be honest. I probably should check that because I did not check for a CCU, and I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to do it live, so to speak.
Yep.
Because I probably should say something before I put in my mouth.
Put it in your mouth because someone will pick you up if it is wrong.
Yep. And I don't want to give out.
They always want to do.
False info. And I then. Ooh. No, you can't upgrade. This is why I check things. Right. So yeah, you'll have to buy that one outright. But that does change it a little bit. I'm going to be honest. We'll have to talk about that when we do the.
But at $45, it is, in my opinion, a nice LTI token.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate to Algared and say, Algared, that's a starter package as an Aurora.
True, but if it's an LTI token, and you need an LTI token, that's the cheapest we've got at the moment.
True. Yeah, C1 Spirit. I actually went out and brought one of these. I am a big fan of this ship. It's kind of the one that I do all my little A to Bing in, and stuff like that. I really like it. Yeah.
He pulled out the Spirit to bring an Atlas Geo for me to have a look at. He seems to love that. I still find the corridors, it feels like the endless tunnel. It feels like going down the time tunnel, just. Yeah.
But once the Zeus came out, it just showed me how much. Like I kind of had to see a bad one to know what a good one was, type of thing. And I prefer a lot of the newer ones. But again, the Zeus might speak to you as well. But big fan of the Spirit. Go ahead.
Having said what I dislike about the tunnels, I do like the fact that they've got the components in those tunnels as well. So that kind of lessens that hatred. But
my favorite of the medium ships is that could very well change. Right, the C2 Hercules. This is a real workhorse right now, but I think you would agree with me. Once the Ironclad gets here, I think this might drop back a little bit. Don't quote me on that, but it's essentially double the cargo in the Ironclad. And it is a little bigger. You do go from I'd have to actually pull it up and hang a link to show you the actual differences, but the Ironclad is a little bit bigger, but I think it's just got a little bit easier of access to, because you've also got 2 tractor beams on the Ironclad. So I think, I don't want to say this is the large diff effort to sell this thing, but anyone that's been around since this thing came out, it's essentially slowly not dropping down, but as other things come up to meet it, it's kind of being overshadowed. So I shouldn't say dropping down. There's other things that are coming up past it. Agreed?
I would. I've got to admit, I don't like the Hercules. I find them a bit of a rabbit warren, and that's horrid considering how bad the Starfarer is. But I just don't like this. I've been in the turrets. I don't like the turret. There's just, for me, the Hercules just doesn't meet up to the hype I originally hoped.
Algared's a bit of a conspiracy theorist, and I've heard him talking about this ship. Essentially, the Star Citizen Illuminati ship. It's a flying pyramid. That's why he doesn't like it. That's what.
I think you say the Uwu girls.
Yeah.
It's an Uwu girl transport ship, and something like that. And but
no, just a flying pyramid. It just needs an eye on the forehead, and you'd be set, Algared.
Yeah, for me, it's just one of those ships I don't like. Now I know heaps of people do like it, but for me, there's just lots of little dots. But it just
Yep. We'll put it
That's
this
the
way:
on the pile for me.
like I said, when the Ironclad comes in, it'll be good, a change as good as a holiday. Like people just get sick of the same old, same old. But it does what it does very well. But I think when you find the Ironclad comes in, it's the change we're going to need, especially once the Assault gets in a bit after that as well.
But having said that, I do expect that this will have, this will trump the Ironclad in certain areas. It'll probably have better armor, better shields, those types of things as those ships get balanced out. So
we'll see. We'll see. I don't know about that, but you're right. Generally speaking, because I actually haven't gone and compared the components since we did it. So. But again, just based on average gameplay and price and stuff. Right. CSVSM. There is a place for this, but I just don't think we really have enough bases yet to kind of warrant this A to B vehicle. And what I mean, like, I'd much rather to put 4 boxes in, say, like, let's start with even a starship like an Intrepid that does 8.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going, right? And for the price that you're paying, again, it's an Aurora starter pack. Yes, it is an LTI token, but you see where I'm going. Like we didn't actually. This is one of the few ships we didn't review last year because we were at CitizenCon. So essentially, it's just an oversized mule, in my opinion. I don't know if you think different to that, Algared, but.
And I would say this was an LTI token when it first came out. But when they re-released them, they're never LTI. So this is one of those ships or vehicles that, unless you really need it, or you've already got it, I'd be giving it a pass. I tend to think vehicles at this price, they're great if you need an LTI token and they've got LTI, and you can get them with LTI. Otherwise, they're the type of thing where they're worse than fighters.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah, we essentially tell don't buy fighters. It's the same thing. Don't buy vehicles, and you could even look at the Titan suits in the same regard if you wanted to. But Titan suits being a new flavor of the month, people are going to want them. Popular, and as more and more vehicles come along, they're just not as good, are they?
But I do expect this has not even come into its heyday. The heyday of this vehicle comes when the CSV FM, the fabrication module comes in.
Again, I think this will be for driving things around a base, like on a human basic level, like a real, taking things between buildings. And I could see a need for it. It's just not there yet because we don't have base building, obviously, and stuff like that. You're going to be a real utility truck driver in this thing, but just not yet. It's just not there.
Yeah, I tend to think this will, when you've got your fabrication module and you've got your drones needing supplies, this is the type of vehicle that brings the supplies to that location rather than having to bring a whole ship. But like I said, at the moment, the support for it's just not there.
Taurus, this is actually in a really good spot at the moment in game, especially if you're a big fan of cargo running. Me and Algared did take it out quite a lot as cargo came in, and we are both a fan of the tractor beam.
Yeah, the tractor beams on that lower turret really do make loading and offloading that lower ramp really easy. It was a gem to do, and as a ship for its firepower, it's got as much heavy firepower as in terms of the main guns and missiles as the
It doesn't. As the other, it essentially loses the bottom turret. Other than that, it's exactly the same, but no Merlin. So it is. I think it is good value for what you get. Obviously, when it was $150, you can see why it's increased in price. Like it was really good value then. And
$150, it was really good. That's right.
Yeah, and back when this came out, and we didn't really kind of see what cargo was going to be, and then as cargo's developed, this is a really good ship right now. And the other advantage is obviously if you don't like it, because all the other Andromedas are above it, or there are other starting ships above it, you've got room to grow into something if you don't like this, right? But if you like cargo, I can easily recommend this because we've tried it out and it works.
Yeah, indeed. And if you do like you said, if you like the Constellation line anyway, good one to start with. Try it, and if you don't like it, move into something else. So yeah.
Right, the Fortune. After our review of this, I am still convinced I want to know more about munching. And what I mean by munching is essentially look at the reclaimer. It's got a giant spinning blade room. The Vulture's got a door that opens, and it actually has that. This does not have that. They have not explained fully how it will do what is required for munching. So in my book, there is unanswered questions about this ship. The only kind of thing that I can keep coming back to is that, and the fact that essentially Misk is a higher level of tech than Drake, and that's why the prices are about the same. But I actually think that the Vulture is above this one, and that's
Yeah,
kind of where I'm at with it. I don't know about you, Algared.
no, I think I'd probably agree with that. Like in terms of ability, I think the Vulture will be slightly above this, but in terms of the modules and other features, that this will have slightly better modules than the Drake, because we have been told in the past,
Yeah,
the modules that are on the ships, the components that are on the ship actually do raise the price, and I think that's going to be the difference here. But
that too. I'd agree with you on that
at the
as
moment,
well.
we just can't.
Well, for example, it's a lot easier to tell the difference between the Golem and the Prospector than it is to tell the difference between the Fortune and the Vulture.
Oh yeah.
Right, Freelancer Max. Probably my favorite freelancer at the moment for similar reasons to the Taurus. I would not recommend a Zeus still. I'd be recommending this. You can put a Ursa Rover in the back of this. You cannot do that on Zeus CL, and this is just easier to load and unload. The only difference between this and the Zeus CL, essentially, where this doesn't have a positive that the CL does, is the CL comes with its own tractor beam. But this can just fit so much more in it easily. You've kind of got to break it down into smaller boxes to fit it all in the Zeus, and it blocks some of the components. Does it still block some of the components, Algared, or have they changed that? I think they.
Well, this doesn't.
No, the Zeus. I mean, the Zeus.
But the Zeus, I haven't checked the Zeus for a while, but
I'll
it
go
used
back
to
and
block.
I'll go back and check that this weekend.
It used to block the components, and that was one of the things that really set it apart from the Max. And the blocking of components was one of the selling points, where you could hold more, but the downside was you block your components. So
yeah, you had to pull it all out on both sides. So essentially, you got to pull out. I think it was like 8 SCU, so it goes from 128 like this to 120. But the other thing is, this has got an extra engine over the normal Freelancer. So in a straight line, this is actually faster. It's the fastest Freelancer because it just it's got those extra engines. So obviously, then it also means it uses twice as much fuel. But so yeah, the Fat Max is mine, and obviously its bigger brother, the Silencer Max, is a ripoff. Because it's not. It's a Silencer, not a Max. Anyway.
But yeah, indeed.
Well, where's the extra engines? Where's the extra width and all that? Golem. I think you and I will both say that all we'll say on this one is we were just really surprised how cheap this landed. Yeah, it's so cheap.
But we did say the close. I think we said the closer the abilities were to the Prospector, the higher the price would be. The further away they were, the lower the price would be. I said the fact that this is so low, the price is so low, indicates it's got less components. The components are less
well,
durable.
The last video we did, I said like 125 to 145 because I was thinking it was very Prospector-like. And as the week went on, I was on a few other people's streams like Starjump Grim and a few other people like that. And my price did drop down to literally $55 to $90. And when it came out at $60, I was still kind of surprised it was on the cheaper end. But I will say that we can probably officially say that this is now the advanced starter from Drake. Agree with me?
Yeah, I think Nakata is their starter and this is their advanced starter. Absolutely.
I think the only other thing I'll add, Algared, is just remember all you get is a miner. So you got to really like mining going in. And I think from my initial testing is it's like what I said to you, Algared, was it's like a taste sampler or a sample platter. It's just enough to whet your appetite, but there's some major flaws with it. And again, we'll go over that in the buyer's guide on the weekend. Palais, another advanced starter. I think this is very good value for what you get. You can move a lot more cargo than most other ships of its size. For example, the Nomad being the same price and stuff. But obviously there's drawbacks to that as well, isn't there?
Yeah, and one of the advantages of the Hull A is this is a ship that if you've got it, it's going to scale up with everything else. It's the ship for taking cargo down a planet and bringing stuff back up. The Hull B will probably do the same, but the Hull C, D, and E, they just can't do that. And yet this is a ship that's going to be I think really useful
Yep.
for going from station to planet, and whereas
Same
the other ships are
same with the B.
bring it
The
to your
whole
station.
the whole A and the whole B are probably going to be a lot more numerous because, as you said, station to planet. And if
Yeah.
you look at how the whole system of whole ships is integrated, these are the you have like couriers and stuff, the last mile delivery. These are last mile delivery people. And as I said, I kind of prefer this over the Nomad because it's cargo based, and you are literally getting 40 more SCU of cargo. So 24 on the Nomad, 64 on the whole A. But obviously, what you get on the Nomad is you get the ability to put tiny little vehicles on the back. And I think you need to weigh that up for yourself, because I think right now that might be an advantage to have the versatility in the Nomad. But I think when the final game comes out, it's the real money making is going to be moving all the cargo, personally. And
one of the advantages of this ship, because it is so small, it is the ship that can very easily, it can fit into or should fit into the Odyssey. And so that would be a very quick way to resupply a ship like the Odyssey, or Idris's, or Polaris and things like that. So it's a very good ship.
Right. The whole C, I think you and I are very surprised how much this jumped in value. I think it was $150 when it jumped. But again, I think it's probably going to be the most common ship in the entire game. It's the most all-rounder cargo ship that you'll see, and it's stated that in lore. And I think it is going to be really interesting once we start seeing those cargo walls and the rafts pulling the cargo and loading the cargo off, and they'll become a lot more efficient. And I think because of their efficiency, that's where they'll shine over other ships that have to go into a hangar and you have to unload it yourself, rather than doing it externally on the outside, which is a huge boon.
I also wouldn't be surprised if, because the Pulse is supposed to be such a prolific ship, that it'll be a ship we see a lot of NPCs flying as well. And this is a ship that the Xeon apparently have license to build.
Yeah.
So
now the whole C's out, though. You do also have the E. They don't have the D, though, which is interesting.
No. Interesting.
But and I'm not trying to say this is good value or anything. But the D is almost better value because it's not out yet. It appears cheaper. So I would, if you were interested in the C, I would probably entertain the D or the E if you. But the E is a bit harder to get behind because the amount of cargo that it carries is literally more expensive than the vehicle itself. So this is literally an org mover. It is one of the few that I don't own as in a capital, because I just didn't ever think I'd want to move that amount of cargo, and I had a Banner Merchantman, which kind of I think does it a little better. But if you are all about volume and just the sheer girth and breadth of cargo, this will be well. With Hayes, former Inforunner, he has multiples of these in a massive chain thing, doesn't he? Like he runs them in a car. He wants to run them in a cargo train, like a freight train.
Yep. And and he originally used to talk about having Banner Merchantmen as the escorts because they could carry as much and had big guns to. Don't know if it's changed, but that's kind of the thought process he used to have.
Right, the mole. I do think, for me, with the changes that came in the last couple of patch, there is a real need for this in the little group that I go out that do mining and salvage and stuff. So I had it with John Citizen and a few of the other guys from the UK. It's been real boon to have at least one of these in the group, because there's just certain times you'll come up against that really big rock that you don't find a lot of big rocks, but when you do find a big one, they're really valuable. And just having, you can have 4 people out in a prospector and then just 3 people in this, the driver just changes to the middle seat, and it allows you to crack open that really big rock. It's a really big boon to the group, especially if you're moving in, 6, 7, 8 people type of thing. I've really come around to using this a lot more than I used to back when it originally came out. I'm a bit more fond of it now, especially the last couple of weeks. Changes to mining. Algared, is there anything you want to add about that one? Until I think the Rastra comes at least, yeah.
Yep. Oh, look, it's the fact that it's multi-crew, the fact that they've got the option to put different heads on, it gives you options, and that's a great thing with the multi-crew options on this ship.
Yep. And again, if you're interested in the Arastra, you could always go through this while waiting. If you have an Arastra, I believe you get one as a loaner. I've got an Orion, and that's why I have a Mole and a Prospector. I'm wondering if they'll actually give the Golem as well.
Mm.
The Pioneer, that kind of surprises me, but
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Pioneer on the store. Do not see this very often. So I did pick one of these up at not Invictus, sorry, IAE. Have to forgive me, I'm very tired. If we make any mistakes today, by the way, please put it down to tiredness, because it's almost 10 p.m. here and we've both had very long days, but we really want to get this out. Anyway, Pioneer, I picked one up because my hope, Algared, and I did discuss with you, they roughly go up to 10 to 20% in value. So you add 10% to that, it should put it over that $1,000 threshold. We do have precedents for this with the master set for the Endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
They added the second pot. It went from $950 to 1,100, I think it was, and that put it over $1,000. So therefore, it retroactively every single version of this that ever existed got LTI. And I'm hoping we see that again, unless they are only going to increase it by $50, which we have not seen that. Well, would you tell me? Have you ever seen a ship at that price point go up by only $50 on release?
No.
I haven't, and I haven't seen it on. Well, put it this way: as we said, the whole C went from $350 to $500. So, and that's a large increase, and that's like a third the price of this essentially. So I'll be really surprised if this doesn't retroactively get LTI across every Pioneer. And that is my hope. I brought it with that gamble in mind. And again, if I just get sick of it and I don't want it without LTI and that doesn't eventuate, I'll just turn it back into credits or something like that and turn it into other ships.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that I think could go up, and that's just the fact that you need it to build the main things, to build star bases and other stuff. So you need the Pioneer to build that.
Org level builder.
That platform.
The
thing that
org level builder, is that what you? Because that's how I would call it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, it's an org level builder.
Yep.
One of the things that might keep this price down, though, is the fact that Ben was surprised when he talked to people about this, that lots of people in orgs had them, and his thought was this is one ship per org.
Algared, the Shatterer of Dreams, the Bringer of Tears.
Yep. But
he's what he's doing is he's playing good cop, bad cop, and that's fine. No, it is right to think this way. But I am taking a gamble. I know that, but I am sharing those thoughts because, again, far more likely. Like, if you were a betting man, Algared, would you bet on it going to LTI or not going to LTI?
I would. My bet would be it'll go to LTI.
Yeah. He's being.
I think it's bound to go over 1,000. But
you're doing the devil's advocate thing. I get it.
That's right.
Yeah. So keep going.
No, that's it. Right, cool. I think that the fact that lots of people have it could be the only reason they kept the price down, because then they don't want to push the price up. So you can but then if they push the price up, then you can't CCU to or upgrade to another ship. So.
I think with the Golem today, this seems expensive now. But again, the more testing I do with the Golem, the more I appreciate this ship. As I said with the Golem, it seems like a sample taster. It just is limiting certain functionality. I don't know how you can justify essentially $90 or $95 of extra value.
Yeah,
but that's just where it sits.
Especially when looking at the cargo capacity, they're based on the same. The cargo systems look different, but I think it comes down to components and the versatility of the head on this.
Agreed.
But that's going to give it.
Yeah, I kind of didn't want to talk about that stuff because we're going to talk about the price point, but you've just done it, so it's fine. Don't worry about it.
But I think all of those things really do separate the price, and you've got to look at they're the things that you've got to look at to justify why this is so much higher. Given the price of this versus the Golem, you've got to assume this is significantly better.
Right, the Raft. Again, we kind of mentioned this a little earlier when talking about the whole sea. I think this ship has not had its heyday yet. I think right now it's essentially a 96 SEU, 332 SU container type of hauler. I know you can fit lots of little different ones on. They made it that way, but let's be realistically, this thing is a sky crane. You get on the second floor at the back, there is literally a command module there that looks over and down, just like you'd be in a crane at a a regular boat in today's modern age. And obviously that's why it's two-seater. One drives and moves the crane, the other moves, like, essentially
shifts the ship.
And well, one shifts the ship, the other drops the crane down and essentially picks up the boxes. So it's a two-man crane essentially. And I think you can tell when you look at all the extra geometry, you can see that it's going to fold out and extend. And I think they will have a lot more people picking this ship up once that functionality comes in. Where that functionality is, I couldn't really tell you, but with them doing the cargo walls, I think you'd agree that that would at least be one step closer, Algared.
Oh, yeah. Look, I think the Raft is a great ship. Price always worried me. And I think the only reason you, again, justify the price is because of what it can do and the components it has.
And again, the niche. There is no other Sky Crane. Yet. Maybe they bring in Sky Crane gameplay and we're getting duplicates, so we're getting that. The Rock. I really want to see if the Rock DS is skipping ahead. No, it's not. Thank God for that. Right. The Rock. At $55, I do now struggle to recommend that this at all. Based on the Geo. You could just take so many more Geos that essentially outshine this. If it's a people problem, you can just throw more people at it. This just takes up so much more space. I think you can almost, don't quote me on this, but I think it's almost a space of 6-1. Would you roughly agree with that? I think we'd at least agree 4, yeah? But like if you
definitely 4.
Yeah, but if you could fit 6 in the same spot, that even 4 kills it for me, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
And then, and yes, you've obviously got the not as much SCU, but you can just have the cargo containers and swap them through. And again, because they leap and maneuver around like little frogs, you can essentially do it a lot quicker and do it in almost swarm mentality. So I think this kind of takes it the next step up. And again, we'll go through that when we do more of the Geo, but I think this is really a nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I'd want to hope that the
Rock
has better components and better survivability and better durability and better abilities than the Geo.
Internal cab. Internal cab. We'll give you that. I will give you that.
That's about it.
Reclaimer. I'm a real big fan of this ship.
I'll let you gush over that.
No, I don't. I think it's a really good ship. I think we can clearly see now that there is more need for bigger salvages. There is too much of a gap between a Vulture and a Reclaimer. I am looking forward to seeing a ship that bridges that gap. But yeah, this is a capital salvager, and yeah, just a really big gap right now. And I think obviously some people it'll be too big for some people, but again, essentially 5 people and you can run a capital ship. That's probably going to be one of the smallest industrial capitals out there. Other than say something like potentially cargo that requires less. But I've had a lot of great teamwork in this ship. I know you have too, Algared. And I think a lot of the other people. Again, let me know in your comments what you think of the Reclaimer, because I'm a big fan. I know Algared's not as big a fan, but I think he was praises quite as much.
Look, I like the Reclaimer. The Reclaimer's always a ship, but I always thought I'd be more into mining than salvage. I have to admit, at the moment, I do prefer salvage to mining. Reclaimer is a great ship, but I do think it is in need of a fairly thorough rework on the internals, and
absolutely agree.
We're just got to wait and see what happens with that.
Yeah, everything's got to stay in the sun. Wait for a little. So big to it's gonna.
But on the bright side, the longer you wait, the better it is.
SRV, which is kind of weird when you look at it back to next to the Raft. It's kind of a bit smaller, a bit more niche, but I do think this is the start of the repair ships, believe it or not. Bringing a ship back to allow it to repair at a station or a little bit of hand repair. I think this was unfortunate with what base buildings happened and where it happened. I think that this was kind of the starter repair, and then things have kind of changed a little bit with how base building went. So this has kind of been left out on its own for a bit. But I think as more repair gameplay comes in, this will pick up again a little bit.
Yeah. And I do tend to think the SRV really with a break off from what the Crucible had been originally envisaged as being both the tow ship, the repair ship, and other things. And I think they were breaking those roles up. But Argo doing this type of thing just seems to fit their wheelhouse. They're stevedores, they move large cargo, they're moving things out of the way. So you get a ship breakdown in the shipping lanes, cargo would be the type of people who want to get rid of that quick so they can keep the cargo moving.
Yeah. Right, the Drake Vulture. We kind of talked about this earlier. If I was going to pick between this and the Fortune, this is where I'd be going. I know you agree with me on that, Algared. I think we can kind of leave it there unless you want to add that.
No, I really do like flying the Vulture. It's probably my go-to salvage ship at the moment.
There you go. Algared's go-to Drake ship. Right, the seal. We talked about this before. This is why I went over it so much before, because I knew it was coming. Yeah, I just go big on Freelancer Max. If you want everything that this does, it's better at this stage. And I don't like the pokiness. If you like pokey little ships, or you like the look of the ship, you do you. I'm just basing it on the general use and the cost and the functionality. And I think you would agree with that on Algared. When you look at the functionality, this one
and
a little bit behind.
And yet we know that pokiness of his ship was deliberate. Ben actually wanted it to be even pokier.
He did.
Because he wanted it to have that cramped feel of being an early spaceship. And so he wanted it to be feel as crowded and claustrophobic as he could. And I think he managed to do that. I think he pulled it off.
My biggest problem with the pokiness is you can't like have two people pass each other in a doorway. And that drives me crazy.
Yeah, I know.
When it's a 3-person ship, you don't want to be, not being able to walk past each other. And it happens a lot in the ship because there's a lot more doors than there. All right, with that then, that is the last of that. That's Workers' Week. I am hopeful that we might see, I don't know, Algared, I'm kind of hoping I want a Science Week now or something like that. Goes on. Oh, I did. I forgot something. Yes, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, we did. All right, go ahead, Algared. He wants to talk about this, and I forgot about it.
Yeah, so in the market at the moment, there is a package, the minor starter pack, which is the Golem. That is a really good pack at the moment. If you're looking to get a starter pack, this is really good value. You get the Golem, a skin, you get a game package, which is about $15 value. You get 20,000 UEC. That is, to buy 20,000 UEC would cost you $20.
Yeah. Not only is this good value, but the number of ships that we see with LTI and a starter pack is rare. Usually you are lucky to get one a year. And so like Intrepid type of thing, the Cutter when it came out, and it's only when they come out. The fact that we're getting one right now, quote me if I'm wrong, I'm sure it might have happened at some point, but it's been very many years since we got one around Invictus that came with a starter pack. I think the last one was those starters I mentioned that come at AIE.
The last really big one that I can remember with 20,000 UEC was
Nomad.
The Nomad.
Yeah. So that's the other big one. Yeah, it does come with $20 worth of Alpha UEC, which really makes this tantalizing. And I would stress to you that if you are even remotely thinking about picking up the Golem, to pick this up, you're talking what's that? An extra $7.50 if I'm not mistaken. So $7.50. If you look at that, that's $20 worth of credits alone. You also get Star Citizen that's worth $15. Now, I know you might not need that, but there are other advantages to other character creator slots and stuff like that. And you also get the Rockfall paint. So I haven't looked up the value of that Rockfall paint. Let's just say it's $3 to $5. That's still an extra value though. And then on top of that, you get the Warbone price. That is an incredibly good pack with a skin, extra credits, lifetime insurance, and Star Citizen. For that, it's very cheap.
Yeah, and I tend to think if you're looking at getting a starter pack, if you need a starter pack, or you want to upgrade your starter pack, this is a really good bonus. I was saying it, Jill, Execute earlier. If I had a starter pack with only 20,000, with only 5,000 UEC, I'd actually look at melting that starter pack if I wanted a Golem, buying this one, and then using those credits to upgrade this pack to whatever I wanted. Or upgrade other stuff. It is that good a value.
Yeah, it is.
It's also great value if you've got friends who you want to con into the game. Buy 3 or 4 of these and
give them to people. You don't have to keep it as a Golem, right? At that price, you could upgrade that to an Avenger, for an example, right? So you could upgrade that to an Avenger, and they could have a different starter, or you can encourage them to upgrade into it after that. This is don't look at this as just the Golem. Look at what the pack contains, and then think of a ship above this that you can change it into. because
Yep.
that is really where this is. Like, if you have a starter pack right now, let's think of one. So say I could literally pull up any of the other starter ships, Mustang, Intrepid, Cutter, Aurora, and it doesn't have LTI. You have $67 sitting around. Seriously, consider buying this and then melting that pack and adding it on top of this and going to a bigger ship, or another ship entirely. Because once you have LTI, it is just that peace of mind, and everyone's after that. Like, a lot of people try to get that, and the Alpha 20 UEC, I guarantee you, that's 4 times what it normally comes. You normally get 5,000, and that's it.
Well, some you can only get 2.
Yeah,
I think the Aurora is only 2,000 or 3,000. So it is a significant boost to your starting cash, and that, you know, when the game goes live, that is a really, really good buy.
So if I had a big rubber stamp, I think me and Algared would be giving it a big Inforunners rubber stamp approval.
Yeah, well, look, even consider the last really big one we got was a Nomad. The Nomad pack was $90. This is 67 with the same amount of cash. Yeah, it's not a versatile ship, man. That's a really,
but it's a much better pack.
Yeah,
much better pack.
Much better pack.
I think it's actually got the 10% off too, where there was, I think it was, don't quote me, but I think it was 75 the interest.
Yeah. So on that's where we'd say.
Yeah. So forgive us for being a bit tired if we've made any mistakes on this one. I'm absolutely exhausted. I've had a day, but we did want to get this one out to you guys ASAP. What do you want to hear from people in the comments below, Algared?
Yeah. How many starter packs are they buying for their friends? There you go.
How many mistakes did we make because we're tired as shit?
Probably made a whole heap.
But yeah, again, I'll let you guys correct us in the comments, because as you always do, I do appreciate that. I kind of just want to know about the starter pack in a golem. I know that's a really good thing, and let me know if you can remember far back if we've had one this early in the year, because from by my recollection, it's been at least 5 years. I think you guys will all agree with me on that. It's been a really long time. It's before 2020. I think the last one I remember was essentially, it's been all those starter ones, and they were not, we're waiting all year to get that. And I do like to see new starter ships for when people come in, they're kind of getting that LTI and they get that peace of mind, and they don't. Yeah. So if you know someone coming in, or they know someone that has just a starter, maybe encourage them to spend a little bit of money if they want to. Don't push them over the edge. But again, if they've just got like an Aurora and no LTI on it, maybe they've been eyeing off that Spirit or Cutlass or whatever, and get this and then melt the other and then upgrade.
Well, here's one. If you're a Nomad lover and your Nomad doesn't have LTI, you got that pack. CCU it, or convert to a Nomad and not your Nomad, and get LTI on your Nomad. There you go.
So most starters are $45 to $50. So again, if you were to pick that up with a $50 value, you'd be looking at a ship around, he's right, about $90 and up. So you could do a Nomad and up. Yeah. Gladius as well would be in that park as well. So yeah. All right, let you guys give us their thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you everyone that went to Patreon at the. God, I'm tired. Everyone that went the extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video, thank you very much. Right, it's been Algared.
And he's been executed.
I've been cooked. It's just. I'm going to sleep, Algared. I'm so.
You're knackered. Yeah.
I'm knackered, man.
I know it as well.